Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back. So we've got a Blackstar HT-5 amp in the house. Now, need to set the record straight. This is not a full tube amp. It's a hybrid. The channels I've watched, most of which were music stores demoing this amp, are trying to say that this is an all-tube amp, and well, I'm sorry, but 2 tubes does not qualify as an all-tube amp. It's a hybrid. Even the manual says it's a hybrid. And this has also led other YouTubers astray that have also demoed this amp and have talked about it, thinking that it's actually an all-tube amp. I think only 1 or 2 channels realized it was a hybrid. But anyways, on the front panel, of course, we have our input, we have a clean volume control, we have overdrive as well with its own separate gain, of course. The clean channel is a separate control altogether, and they both share the 3-band bass, mid, treble EQ as well as the IFS. And we'll get into a little bit of that in a moment. The IFS is called a shape feature. Works in conjunction with bass, mid, and treble controls. Allows you to choose the exact tonal signature you prefer, fully CCW and more. Okay. Now on our rear panel, which is the back end of the amp, we have, of course, the foot switch input, and it does come with a foot switch. He also affects send and affects return, and loop level, which can go from +4 dB setting to a -10 dB. So if your pedal board is putting out a little too much, you can knock it back with that switch. So not a big deal. Now there's also 3 speaker connectors on the back, one of which is for an 8 ohm only cab, and all you're allowed is 1. Okay, whether it's a 1x12, a 4x12, whatever. Okay. And there's 2 16 ohm inputs. One is specifically singled out that if you're using just a single cab, you can only plug into that particular one. Otherwise, you can plug in 2 16 ohm cabs. Okay, and this particular cabinet is, of course, matched Blackstar, and it's a 1x10 cab at 16 ohms. Which also means you're not getting 5 watts. You're only getting 2.5 watts out of the 5. But I gotta tell you, even at 2.5 watts, this thing wails like mad. You know, and it is a sealed cabinet as well, and it still wails. I actually cranked this thing up pretty loud at Long and McQuaid, and I've been looking at this amp at their place for well over a week now. I hemmed and hawed on renting it, and it's like, you know, I was really tempted, but it's kind of like, you know, $350 is actually a steal for this amp and cab combo. It's $100 for the cab, $250 for the head. It's kind of like, well, I need to rent it first and see how it does with my guitars, right? You know, because playing on one of their guitars in the store is one thing, and being able to crank it up, the tonal response does change as you crank it. It does react very much like a regular tube amp, even though it's only a hybrid and it's only running on 2 tubes. But I gotta tell you, it's pretty smoking cool, and very clean. Even at high volumes, I was surprised how clean this thing can get. But there's also a switch up front by the headphone jack, which simulates the cab response of either a 1x12 or a 4x12 cab, which is also very cool. Unfortunately, you don't get to simulate it through a 1x10 speaker or any cabinet speaker. It's only through your headphones. So if you're going to use the headphone jack as a line out too, you could simulate it into your interface as either a 1x12 or 4x12. So that's also pretty cool. Of course, you do have your usual power switch and standby switch, which is very common on tube amps. And in something this size, because it's using at least 2 tubes, they do have the standby switch there, which I thought, well, that's kind of wild, because I had the, which one was it now? It was the Orange Micro Terror, or the metal one, whatever, the black one. Anyways, no standby switch on it. I'm like, yeah, but it's a hybrid tube, but it's only a single tube. So, makes a difference. But anyways, besides, tubes aren't that expensive for this thing, and turns out I've already got a pile of one of the tubes. I just have none of the other tube version, but that's okay, no big deal. It's $40 for the other tube, and I can have some spares. But I'm still extremely tempted to buy this thing. I'm going to give it another day or two. I've got this thing till Tuesday anyways to make up my mind. I am very tempted because I wanted a tube amp. Now, I prefer a pure tube amp, but I don't have that kind of money right now. And, you know, even for a combo amp for a Vox, I'm looking at $800. And I actually want to play around with that Vox when I'm at Long McQuaid tomorrow, because I am actually going to give that some serious consideration. But for something with clean and dirty too, this thing has got the nicest dirty channel I have yet to ever hear in any amplifier, especially a hybrid. Usually the high gain areas in combo amps or even separates like this are usually garbage tone, at least my opinion anyways. Or it's not bad of a tone, but this is really sweet. So I've got my 2013 SG Pro out, which is my new to me guitar that I got yesterday, and that was a sick deal. So we're going to use it. So we're going to give you some clean tones. Now, as far as the foot switch goes, there's the foot switch, and it's got about a 10-foot cable with it. So I couldn't understand why the one guy on his video said the cable's so short it barely reaches the floor to the amp, and it's like, what, you got the thing hanging off your ceiling? Like, seriously? That's a 10-foot cable. But if you find it's a little short for, you know, having the amp behind you and you want to be on stage and switch between the two channels, well, obviously you can buy extensions that you can plug in and extend the cable length. It's just a tip sleeve cable connector, so who cares, right? Anyways, but as far as in here goes in the studio, yeah, it's way more than long enough. So anyways, let's give you some clean stuff. Bass mid treble is right up in the middle. Got the IFS turned around 9 o'clock right now. So what the tone does is it brightens it up. So if we turn the knob, it shifts it a bit, but it also works along with your bass mid and treble for that shifting effect. So let's I think this one was, yeah, it's backwards. Bass is over here. So it's got good bass control. Good response out of the controls, but for this video I'm just going to leave them all at 12 o'clock. But we'll start with the IFS at least around 9ish. Now the pickups that are in this SG from the factory are actually Epiphone's classic 57s, their version of 57 Classics, which was very impressive when I found out all the info from Long McQuaid on this thing yesterday. I'm like, sweet. And of course I can do coil tapping, so we are going to actually do a video putting this guitar up against my Gibson Les Paul that has a 57 Classic and a Classic Plus in it. So we'll see how close Epiphone got it. Bridge, so this is middle. And the neck. Now that's nice, clean tone. So I have a favorite position around 2 o'clock for the IFS. So let's start back with the bridge. So at the 2 o'clock position it rolls off that brittleness. So I say we throw some distortion on this thing. So let's start with the IFS at 9. That was a bridge, so both pickups. Now I do have the gain set at around 3 o'clock. Has amazing sustain. Alright, neck position. Pretty cool. So let's throw that IFS in our sweet spot. Pickups. And the neck. So I'm thinking I'm really liking this amp. I'm still extremely tempted to buy it. Even if I can't get a regular tube amp right away, this thing comes pretty darn close to being awesome. And besides, it wouldn't hurt to have another amp. I've only gotten 4 so far, so what's another one to the mix, right? And they all sound different, that's for sure. But anyways, so that's pretty much what we got for this one. When I do get a chance, when the folks upstairs aren't home, I will do a new video for you guys as a demo only, and we will make this thing whale for use, okay? But she does, and that's if I buy it, of course. But I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to. We'll see what happens. I have it on rental till Tuesday, and I can always rent it for a longer time too, you know, till I decide if I'm going to buy it. But yeah, I am definitely very impressed with this amp. I didn't think I'd be impressed with Blackstar at all. There's been a lot of mixed stuff on Blackstar, you know, definitely. Some people like Blackstar products, some people hate them. I never really thought much of them myself until trying this amp out. It's the first Blackstar I've had the opportunity to try out, and I gotta say, I really like the thing. I think it's pretty awesome. Yeah, so far so good. So as far as review points go for this thing, I would have no problem whatsoever putting this thing at an easy, and that's only because I have let this thing wail at the store quite a bit when I was checking it over. But for a 5 watt amp that's currently running at 2.5 watts on a 16 ohm speaker, I would have to say I'd put this at a, you know, an easy 4.25 out of 5, definitely. They are easily, just even the head by itself, I've looked at them online, you know, like used obviously, and they are going for a lot more money than what Long McQuaid's asking. But I think part of that is, you know, it's all based on condition too. I mean, this thing is missing a little rubber footy underneath, but at least the screw is there. I can fix that easy enough. And of course they're not a Blackstar dealer, so that also makes a difference. And of course age, you know, that sort of thing. And you know, not all amps gain value, that's for sure. It's like guitars, not all of them gain value. But I think that overall, I mean, it is cosmetically, other than the missing footy, it's in near perfect condition. And I actually like this model of the HT-5. They have one out with a reverb, which would have been nice to have. Reverb in there, but who cares? But the new one's got what looks like the, you know, the chicken beak or chicken head knobs, commonly seen on some of the old Fenders and definitely on Voxes. My Vox has them, and I really don't like the looks of the new HT-5. It's got a different code with the HT-5, but I like this one. I think this one is just fantastic. I really love the looks of it, and the sound, even with that 16-inch or 16 ohm speaker, it sounds really, really good and very clean. I'm surprised at how clean it really is, you know, and for being a hybrid, it's pretty impressive. So I don't know. I have a pretty good feeling we're going to add this to the inventory, but I'm still in a little bit of debate. You know, it's kind of like, it's not that it's a lot of money. I've also got another project on the go as well that I'm looking into, and I can only do so many things at once, you know. But it's definitely worth the money for $350 for the pair. That's a great deal. So I'm gonna have a hard time saying no. So I might have to actually say yes. I might have to just get this thing. But anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and like I said, if I do buy it, I'll wait till a day when nobody else is home, and I will let this thing wail for you guys on video so you can really hear it crank out, because as you give it even more on the clean and more on the gain, tonality wise, I mean, it stays very close at pretty much any level, but it really punches out nice when you can give her some, you know, power, you know what I mean? And 2.5 watts is currently a lot. And if I do get it, I think I'm going to invest in an 8 ohm, maybe an 8 ohm 12-inch speaker, and swap out for my trainer cab, because I have a cab, I just need an 8 ohm speaker, because it's a 4, and you can't use the 4 ohm unless you want to cook the tubes and light the thing on fire, so it wouldn't be a good idea. Yeah, I'm really seriously considering this thing. But anyways, in the meantime, thanks so much for watching, guys, and hanging out. Stay tuned. Got some more gear videos coming for you over the weekend too. My new toy arrived today at Long McQuaid. I just have to pick it up tomorrow after work and get that thing home, and we'll have some video with that as well, and we'll just keep plugging away. So thanks again, and see you on the next one.